Hi, Mariah. Students, faculty, and supporters of all levels of education came together on what is now known as the Day of Action. Some of the challenges is not just reading and writing, but also other people face challenges with the computer as well. Hi, Alex. In 3 of the 4 robberies in the city, the suspect held a knife against the customer's throats. But some college students don't realize that a lot of stress can greatly impact their chances of heart disease. It's not a matter of if, but when the big one will occur in the Bay Area. And when it does, this area on campus by Thorne Hall is prone to liquefaction. Economists would agree that in this tough economy, retired people need to keep a watchful eye on their use of funds. For example, to save more money in the long run is by cutting back on spending. Hi, Kanya. Liquefaction is loose sand that is being intensified by a strong shaking. Anyone with information is asked to call the SFPD. You can call their confidential tip line at 415-575-4444. Hi, Mariah. Students, faculty, and supporters of all levels of education came together on what is now known as the Day of Action. They are taking action because of budget cuts that have affected everyone from kindergarten to the university level. Rising tuition, faculty layoffs, and a reduction of classes motivated supporters' involvement with the protest. It was a day of action where protesters expressed their frustration with the decreased quality of education in California. Students and faculty picketed their way on 19th and Holloway for almost 3 hours. Protesters blocked off an intersection, causing a halt in traffic for about 15 minutes. Schools from all across California, including SF State, have been facing budget cuts. Also, a tuition and fee increase of 32% motivated the demonstration.
Within the elementary system and the high school system, people are not having proper access, teachers are getting laid off, classes are being cut, and education should be a right, not a privilege.
This is the future of our entire generation. This is the future of our nation because we're entrusting it in the hands of the new generation. And instead, California is willing to be #1 in prison spending, but number 48 in education spending, and that's sorry.
SF State students are joining hundreds, maybe even thousands of students and faculty here at City Hall, protesting for their educational rights. One kindergarten teacher says he is witnessing many negative effects in the classrooms.
Just seeing a ratcheting up of larger and larger class sizes, and it has a dramatic impact on our ability to spend time with each individual student.
Another supporter hopes that the protest is only the beginning.
It's a question of using March 4th of a raining crawl for Canoe, California, because I know that we work together, we can do it.
The protests at City Hall lasted over 2 hours. In spite of the thousands of demonstrators that marched at SF State and City Hall, it was a peaceful protest. Not a single student, faculty member, or supporter was arrested by police. Live in the studio, Justin Mendoza for State of Events. Back to you, Mariah and Suzanne at the news desk. San Francisco police are looking for this man. He is a serial bank robber that robbed 4 banks within 3 weeks. Shown here are photos from 2 banks captured by surveillance cameras. Each victim had a knife held against their throat. Fortunately, there were no major injuries. Bank robberies do happen, and I wanted to find out from bank customers how they feel about their safety. One customer is worried about her safety but feels people need to be cautious of their environment.
I hear about a lot of holdups and robberies, and you never know what's going to happen. I always try to go to well-lighted places. That's kind of obvious, but usually just being aware of your surroundings and just being aware of like who's behind you.
However, some customers try not to let the idea of a robbery bother them.
I am concerned about my safety at the bank, but I don't worry about it too much.
Patty Rosado is like many Americans, trying to find a job in a very competitive job market. She wants another job with a higher salary so she can't afford the monthly cost of health benefits. However, Rosado has had challenges with reading and writing most of her life, and it has discouraged her in one way or another.
It actually prevents me from doing a lot of things. Well, for instance, looking for, when I went to go look for another job, The challenges of filling out an application.
Some of the challenges is not just reading and writing, but also other people face challenges with the computer as well. Leon Veal, a Project Read mentor who once had literacy issues, says applying for a job these days is more difficult for Americans with literacy challenges.
Most applications are done electronically, and so learners face these big obstacles that our society now has moved into a more electronic society rather than a paper society and rather than a one-on-one society.
Rosado thinks the online job applications are intimidating.
For instance, a lot of the applications you do online now, and there's always a time limit on it.
Rosado has improved remarkably in her literacy skills and encourages other literacy learners and job seekers not to give up.
Don't be so scared to ask for help, because if you could ask for help one time, you could do it a second time, and from then on, you'll feel more comfortable.
In Daly City, Justin Mendoza for State of Events. Heart disease kills one person every 34 seconds in the United States. Associate Professor of Holistic Health Rick Harvey explains how heart disease is destructible to the human body.
Heart disease is this big category that says when you have trouble with the mechanical parts, either the vessels that supply the oxygen and the blood to the heart itself, or you have problems with the ability of the heart to pump well.
It's common knowledge that a healthy diet and exercise lowers the chances of heart disease in the future. But some college students don't realize that a lot of stress can greatly impact their chances of heart disease. College students have more responsibilities outside the classroom. Some of them hold full-time jobs while still establishing themselves as an adult.
At work, they require me a lot because I'm not just a regular sales associate. So I can't call out, I can't really be late, and it's just a little bit hard to put on myself just because I'm a little young still, and I'm still trying to get used to just being an adult.
Charles Conway can sympathize with other students that having too much to juggle is exhausting.
I get really stressed out before when homework's due and stuff like that because I don't have very much time during the day to do it all, like put it all together. And I'm tired from soccer, like we have it every day and it's just like tiring, wears on you.
In San Francisco, Justin Mendoza for State of Events. A well-known website has some businesses upset over some of their practices. There is good news for the economy. Home sales have risen about 7% last month. Hi everyone, I'm Justin Mendoza with your weekend forecast. Taking a look at some of the highs and lows around the Bay Area. It's 62 in San Francisco. San Francisco Mayor Gavin Newsom is disappointed in Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger's plan to veto legislation on a gas tax in California. The cuts that affect our children often have the largest impact on the future. State of Events' Alex Grant shows us how one community organization is trying to deal with a smaller budget while continuing to help children. Alex? A Muni worker is the second female cable car operator in San Francisco history. Two young Oakland men accused of beating a father and a son 2 weeks ago are charged with murder. Your Safety Place is offering a 20% discount to online customers to ensure everyone is properly prepared. If you're interested, go to yoursafetyplace.com. And that will do it for this edition of State of Events. I'm Justin Mendoza.